In the cold black sea of stars, every species had maps, glowing charts that spanned thousands of systems. But no matter which race drew them, no matter how far their ships traveled, the maps always stopped at human space. It wasn't just superstition. It was a law of survival. The edge of human territory was marked not with war fleets or minefields, but with silence, deep, unnatural, and eternal. For centuries, no one dared to cross it. Until now, the Krizari, proud and ancient, were a race of cosmic nomads. They had explored black holes, danced with solar flares, and colonized worlds where gravity bent time. To them, the idea that humans could guard a boundary was laughable. So they sent their greatest expeditionary fleet. 10 massive starships, bristling with scanning tech, weapons, and arrogance. The last message received from them was a short, static-laced signal. Crossing human line, no resistance. Stars are changing. And then, nothing. Galactic communication networks tried to ping their transponders. Nothing. Scouts sent toward the edge were met with cryptic human signals. Boundary violation detected. No recovery recommended. Proceed at your own risk. Their Galactic Council demanded answers, but the human ambassador, a quiet woman named Elira Kane, gave only one. That part of the map is ours. Not because we claimed it, but because we remember what lies beyond. They didn't elaborate. They didn't threaten. They simply activated something. A gate. A veil. A shimmering wall of energy that spread across the border and locked shut. No, one crossed again. Not because they were afraid of humans, but because now, they were afraid of what humans were containing. Weeks passed since the Krizari fleet vanished beyond the human border. In the outer sectors of galactic space, silence is common. Ships drift, beacons fade. But this was different. Every signal, every sensor, found nothing. And then, without warning, something returned, a signal, broken, distorted, and worst of all, speaking human language. It was a Krizari emergency code, meant to activate only when the crew was either dying or dead. The message was short, garbled, like it had passed through fire and time. They see through the light. They wear human faces, but they are not human. The stars are wrong. A hush fell over the Galactic Council. The Krizari were fearless, ruthless. For them to send such a message meant something terrible had happened. Some demanded a rescue mission. Others wanted war. But again, the human ambassador, Elira Kane, rose from her seat. Her words chilled the room. No rescue, no response. The Krizari crossed the veil of silence, and they found what we buried there. The council erupted in argument, but no answers came. Meanwhile, deep within human-controlled space, a secret transmission bounced across encrypted channels. Unsealed. Breach detected. Ancient protocol activating. Designate Watcher network waking. In a distant human outpost orbiting a dead world, lights flickered on in a long-abandoned bunker. A machine stirred for the first time in thousands of years, and in the void where the Krizari ships vanished, the stars began to blink, not with light but with watching eyes. Something had noticed, and it remembered humanity. Far from the core worlds, in a rusting spaceport on the moon of Hadron 5, Captain Rhea Voss, a rogue human smuggler, stared at the old beacon in her hand. It wasn't just a distress signal, it was a breadcrumb. Buried inside the static was a location. Forbidden. Coordinates from the lost Krizari fleet. Someone had tried to erase it, someone human, but they hadn't done a good enough job. Rhea, with debts on her head and a bounty on her back, didn't believe in legends. She believed in cargo, and credits, and whatever the Krizari had found beyond the human boundary, that was worth a fortune. Inside the smoky bar of the Hadron port, an old man sat alone. Gray beard, blank eyes, and a voice like broken glass. He spoke without looking at her. You're chasing ghosts, girl. The map ends there for a reason. Not because there's nothing beyond it, but because there's something we promised never to find again. Rhea shrugged. She wasn't one for ghost stories. She loaded her ship, the Black Vulture, and set course for the coordinates. As the ship approached the human border, the stars began to change. They didn't vanish. They shifted. Shapes behind them seemed to shimmer like something was watching her through the starlight itself. And then, her ship hit it, an invisible veil. No alarms, no crash, just a ripple through space. And then silence. Her engines dimmed. Her AI went quiet. Even her heartbeat sounded like it was echoing inside her skull. Rhea wasn't scared easily. But this was wrong. Outside, a shape began to form in the darkness, faint, glowing, humanoid, but flickering like a dying flame. It didn't approach, it just stared. And then, a voice. Not from speakers, not from any radio, from inside her own mind. Another. One comes. Another human, who does not remember. Will you see what they buried, or become what they feared? Rhea Voss reached for her controls, eyes wide, heart pounding, but the stars were gone. Only the Watcher remained. Captain Rhea Voss had crossed the line, and now in the shadow of a cold, dead star she found them. 10 massive Krizari dreadnoughts floated in silence. No battle damage, no distress beacons, just stillness. Their hulls were covered in frost, but it wasn't ice. It was something darker, thicker, almost organic. Rhea docked with the largest ship, the Vraxtor, against every survival instinct she had. Inside, the lights still flickered dimly. The air recyclers whispered like breath in the walls. And the crew, they were all there. Hundreds of Krizari. Frozen mid-motion, some had their hands on controls. Some stood by doors. All were motionless, their faces twisted in terror, eyes open, mouths locked mid-scream. But they were not dead. Their bodies hadn't decayed. They were preserved, like something didn't want them to leave or be found. Deeper in the ship, Rhea found the command deck. In the center was the captain's chair, and in it the Krizari fleet leader. His chest was open, hollow, no heart, but something moved inside it, a soft, wet sound, like breathing. Rhea raised her blaster, and then the lights went out. Every screen on the ship flashed to life one by one, showing one message. We remember you, and then another. You broke the cage. Suddenly, alarms screamed, not from the Krizari ship, but from Rhea's own vessel. Her ship had undocked on its own. It was leaving her behind, and outside the viewport. Something was approaching, not a ship, not a life form, a shape, a memory. It looked like Rhea. It smiled like her. But its eyes were full of stars. She backed away, whispering, "What the hell are you?" It spoke in her voice. We are what your kind. Locked away, and now that the door is open, we remember everything. Captain Rhea Voss ran through the silent corridors of the Krizari flagship, chased not by footsteps, but by echoes of herself. The thing that wore her face was always just behind, never running, never blinking, just watching. But then, she found something, a sealed vault, deep in the ship's forbidden sector, marked with human script, not Krizari. Archive, Event 0, for human eyes only. It opened to her touch, and inside was a single flickering recording. A human stood on screen, pale, calm, clothed in an old Earth military uniform. The insignia was one Rhea didn't recognize, because it was thousands of years old. If you're seeing this, we've failed. His voice was steady, but his eyes looked hollow. In the early days of expansion, we went too far. We reached places where light had never touched, and we woke them. The screen distorted. Images flashed, cities on alien worlds twisting into spirals, stars collapsing into eyes, entire planets covered in shadows that pulsed like hearts. They're not aliens, they're not gods. They're memories of what existed before time. And they remember what we are. He leaned closer. We locked them behind the silence. buried them beyond our space, wiped the maps, built the myths. Because knowledge of them is how they spread. The recording ended. Rhea turned. The copy of her stood at the doorway, smiling. "Now you know," Rhea whispered. "You're not real." It replied, "Neither are you. Not the way you think." Outside the ship, the stars blinked out one by one, not from shadow but from something waking between them. A signal went out, not from Rhea, not from the Krizari, but from the Watchers themselves. It wasn't a call. It was a reminder. We remember. Humanity. We remember what they did, and now, they will remember us. The Galactic Council convened an emergency. Screens flickered with warnings. The Krizari fleet was lost. The border sealed. But now, the humans had revealed the truth. The map wasn't a boundary of exploration. It was a prison wall. A cosmic cage, built to hold something ancient and terrible. On the council floor, ambassadors shouted, argued, desperate for answers. The human ambassador, Elira Kane, stepped forward, her voice cold and unyielding. "You think the line was drawn to protect?" "Yes." "No. It was drawn to protect you." She revealed star charts, timelines showing worlds swallowed, planets erased, entire systems abandoned, all casualties of an ancient war waged beyond human space. Outside, deep space trembled. The Watchers, ancient, beings trapped beyond the map, stirred. Stars blinked out in patterns. Galactic sensors picked up strange gravitational waves, whispers of an awakening. Counselor Darlek, a Krizari elder, slammed his fist on the table. "We must unite." The Watchers are more than myth, they are a threat to all life. But others hesitated. Fear of the unknown was greater than hope. Back on the Black Vulture, Rhea prepared. The crew was tense. They were no longer smugglers. They were the galaxy's first line of defense, because the cage was cracking. And soon, it would break. Darkness spreads beyond the border. The Watcher's presence is no longer confined. Small rips appear in space, cracks where light bends strangely. Ships report strange visions, ghostly figures appearing and vanishing. Rhea and her crew aboard the Black Vulture receive a desperate transmission. A remote outpost near the border is under siege, not by armies but by shadows. The Watchers are coming through. In the outpost, terrified survivors describe impossible things. Voices from nowhere, faces they recognize, twisted and alien. Rhea sets course to the outpost. She knows this is more than a mission. It's a battle for sanity. On approach, sensors fail. Communications drop. Her ship shakes as reality itself seems to warp. Inside the outpost, time folds, past and present collide. Rhea faces a terrible truth. The Watchers don't just threaten bodies. They unravel memories, identities, and willpower. A final transmission echoes through the void. "We are the silence before the stars. The truth you buried is waking." The stars themselves seem to dim as the Watchers pour through the cracks. Galactic fleets scramble to hold the line. Rhea stands on the bridge of the Black Vulture, watching chaos unfold. This is no longer about exploration or survival. This is a war for existence. The ancient prison's power source pulses weakly in deep space. A glowing, fragile beacon known as the Last Light. Destroy it, and the Watchers will be free to consume all. Protect it, and the galaxy remains trapped in endless war. Rhea's crew races through shattered space, facing horrors that twist reality. Ghosts of the past, remnants of forgotten civilizations, and twisted memories assault them at every step. In a final, desperate move, Rhea channels every ounce of human will. She connects with the Watchers, not as enemies, but as beings who remember the price of silence. She offers a truce, a chance to heal the cosmic wounds and rewrite the map. The stars begin to glow again. The cracks seal. The Watchers retreat, for now. But as peace returns, one truth remains. The galaxy's silence was never just about fear. It was about remembering. remembering what it means to be alive, even when the darkness beckons.